how did you get involved in the voice?
How did I get involved? Well, I auditioned for this casting office, Ulrich Dawson Kritzer Casting, and they are a fantastic casting office, and they do a lot of other projects. So they used to do Glee, and they do like American Horror Story and a bunch of other shows. And they were actually responsible for my first job in LA. So my first job in LA was the Glee project years ago, and so there was a part actually. I actually auditioned for Gecko first. I don't know if you remember the role of Gecko, but it's the guy who's like the S&M hooker and he gets his arm cut off.
For an extra grand, I'll let you chop off my dick.
And they liked it and they sent it off to producers. But then 2 days later, they released this role of Kenji, and they thought I'd be perfect for it because I speak Japanese, and I guess they liked what I did with Gecko. So I went in for that, and I ended up getting Kenji, and I was so excited. And that's how it happened.
Right. Kenji is a new character. I mean, he's not in the comics. So
right.
How was the preparation for the role and the creation?
The preparation was cool. I mean, what's crazy was that when we started shooting season 2, season 1 hadn't come out yet. So Karen actually reached out, as well as Eric Kripke, and who's our showrunner, who's an amazing, lovely human being. And Karen, as you probably can tell, is just the sweetest person. And she reached out not only about the Japanese language requirements, but she also reached out and was like, oh, have you seen the first few episodes of the season? Do you know anything about the backstory? And she kind of filled me in a bit, but a lot of it was just my own kind of work preparation, which kind of differs from part to part. It just depends on the type of role I'm playing and what the project is. But with Kenji, I knew that he was from the Shining Light terrorist organization. And I knew that he had seen a lot of suffering and experienced a lot of loss growing up earlier on in his life. And he lost his sister. And so he was just kind of like having to fend for himself. And it's really about survival. And it's really about his convictions and the beliefs that are birthed from a place of pain, so it's never like a fun place to go to, but I'm an actor, so I just have a lot of fun doing that and creating a lot of work with my imagination. And when you get on set though, you have to kind of be open to changing and and doing different things and adjusting as needed depending on what the director or the writer may tell you.
So there must be some kind of misunderstanding. Look out! Get his hands! Time to go.
I get really nervous anytime, I get super nervous anytime I have anything come out into like the world, any project that I work on. I get really nervous before it comes out, and especially with Kenji, just because I had so much fun on the show. And I know a lot of people say that, but I mean it. I mean, we worked long hours. We worked so much overtime, and that crew worked so hard. But I genuinely had so much fun, and I loved the work that I did for the character. And so I was really excited, and I was kind of nervous about how people would take him, just because there's, you go through a journey with him, and it might be shorter than, what you may want or expect. But, he's also not a character in the comic books, like you said. And so this was birthed from, the writer's imagination and Eric Kripke. So, yeah, but I had a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm still nervous, to be honest with you. Like when I see nice comments, it's so nice, and I'm so excited. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's always very, self-critical and hope everyone likes it and everything. So,
Yes, and have you seen the first season before you get involved?
Not before, because it hadn't come out yet, but actually when I went up for the first episode of shooting, so it was episode 101 where you see Kenji in the surveillance footage, but you don't know that it's him yet. I think the season 1 had just come out on Amazon Prime, and I binge watched the entire season in one night because I wasn't working the next day. And I watched the entire season, and I loved it. To be honest with you, the show, when they were casting the pilot, the first episode, it was like the hottest commodity in town. Like everyone in LA, everyone in New York, all my actor friends, they all were auditioning for everything. I think casting, they saw over 10,000 actors.
Oh.
Yeah. Because, and also like the superhero outfit, the costumes, they take months to make, and it's very, very expensive to make as well. And so they needed to find these actors. And I actually auditioned originally for Translucent in the pilot episode, and I really, really wanted Translucent, but the actor who got it did such an amazing job with it. But yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen it, but I binge watched the entire season in one night in Toronto, on a night that I wasn't shooting the next day, and I loved it. And I was so excited that I got to be a part of this project because I knew it was going to be big, you know. So the production value of the show is fucking mind-blowing. Like, it's, you know, I've never been to, and I've worked on, you know, other shows that are big, but I've never seen, I mean, we had a helicopter and a yacht and a speedboat in one scene, right? Like, that's fucking crazy. And, you know, and just the level of CGI, the stunt work, the wire work, everything. Like, it was so cool to be around because honestly, for me, as an Asian American actor, I never really saw myself, you know, reflected in that world of like superheroes and whatever and stuff like that. So the first time I saw on set, because we have an amazing VFX crew, and they kind of superimpose that scene where Kenji fucks up Party World. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, I have superpowers. Like, that's crazy, right? But honestly, everyone was so nice. Like, I got to work primarily with the boys. So like Carl, you know, Tomera, Karen, Laz, Jack, and they treated me like one of them from day one. And Jack was like, I think the first weekend that I was there, he knew that I didn't know anyone really. And so he was like, hey, do you want to come out to lunch with me and Tomera? You know, they were so nice. And yeah, and the soups too, everyone's fantastic. You know, I got to work with Anthony and Aaron, obviously, and Aya, and they're all fantastic. And I was so happy to work with them. They made me feel very comfortable.
How much time did you spend on set? How long did it take?
Man, sometimes we would spend, I think the longest time I spent on set was 14 hours in like one day, which is a lot.
Yes,
but honestly, like,
this kind of production, I think.
Yeah, I think it's pretty, it's definitely normal. And obviously too, you know, you have things that sometimes you have to go back and revisit. Like after I was done shooting, I came back about a few weeks later to pick up some other scenes and stuff like that. But I mean, it's clearly worth it. And honestly, like, that's the thing too, is that I feel like a lot of us actors, we're just kind of like, oh yeah, we work such long hours. But the truth of the matter is that the crew gets there before us and the crew leaves after us. You know, like the crew was working upwards of sometimes like 15 hours or so. And like, think about it, like a lot of them have families, you know, they have partners, and they gave up so much. So I'm so thankful. And I know that actors are the ones that get a lot of the credit, but I hope the fans, when they see the show, they really recognize the work of the crew because they're incredible.
Hey guys!
And so I think it affects it in a lot of ways, and also just the nature in which, you know, Kenji dies is kind of horrific. You know, he gets called a yellow bastard, and you start to see Stormfront for who she really is. Not Aya Cash. By the way, so many people have been so mean to Aya a little bit, because I think, you know, sometimes when we see actors, we kind of pit the characters and we project it onto the actors. Aya is the loveliest person. She's so amazing. She asked me after every take if I was doing okay. And, but the character is pretty deplorable. I agree. But Aya is amazing. Yes. I just want to put that out there.
Yes, she was. I think it was one of the biggest surprise for everyone. She was,
yeah,
like,
I know, because she's so cool. She's like,
exactly.
Right. She's a feminist. She's gives it to you how, I think actually I have a lot in common with, her prior to revealing that she's kind of a, fucking white supremacist. But yeah, I mean, because I'm from New York, and I kind of give it to people how it is, and I can't really lie. And yeah, and I thought she was such a badass. And then you find out that happens. Yeah.
Oh, can't do your magic little hand thingy anymore? How come?
I think we live in an age right now where a lot of people, because a lot of life is on social media, right? A lot of people, get out what they want to say, put out their narratives and their beliefs and all of this stuff out on social media into that ether. But it doesn't mean that we're not all a little problematic. I don't think that just because you are you're really woke in a certain way or whatever, that we don't always have potential to grow. And so I kind of love that she has these like great sides of her personality, but then you kind of unravel it all and you see the problematic nature of Stormfront, which is that she's a white supremacist and she's fucking crazy. But I do think that no one's wholly perfect, no one's wholly evil. It's not mutually exclusive. Things can coexist. So I do love how she's such a layered and complicated character, and obviously Aya adds so many levels to that character as well, just because of her talent.
Do girls make better heroes?
Look, no offense, I get you have your talking points, but why does it matter whether heroes have a dick or a vag? I mean, shouldn't we all just, be competent at our jobs? I don't think girls do anything better. I think chicks and dicks are in it together. Oh, that's me.
And when Stormfront does that thing with your hands, how was that made? I mean,
that one was actually
figure
made
out.
by, yeah, they have they have an amazing prosthetics team, like the VFX team, and everyone, they do such an incredible job. But we actually had prosthetics. I was thinking about posting it, but it just, I don't know if people were interested in it or not. But like the blood was built in, and it took, I think, like they were molding it onto my body. So it wasn't just my hands, it was also my chest too. So it was like my chest and my arms. And that probably took about like 3-4 hours to do. Like, so it was just me standing there with like.
As a prosthetic, and when she breaks that, there's a capsule with fake.
Yeah, the blood is built in. So they turn it on and the blood is built in. That scene was so intense because I actually, I wanted to try something new, and so I had them put that on me like an hour or so before I started shooting. And so by the time I started shooting, it felt like it was a part of my body, right? And so when we did that, I don't really even think that was much acting. Like I genuinely felt obviously I think sometimes you kind of you forget that like the mind doesn't know that the body doesn't know that your mind is acting. Right. And so sometimes like you actually like feel the trauma of it. And I was like bawling. And so after I was done, I was just like, I think on the rooftop somewhere, and I was just like sitting and I was shaking a bit. And Karen was just like, "Are you okay? You're okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm fine." And I'm just start crying.
The scream feels real, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And also it was hard too.
That sequence is fantastic.
Oh,
And
thank you very much.
Asha's performance is also great. I mean,
yeah,
how she can do that. I mean,
yeah, she's terrifying. Because when you meet Aya, you would be so impressed, because I think the actors that I'm so most impressed by is when they're nothing like their characters. Like Aya she's honestly such a good human being. First and foremost, she is a human being living in this world, and she does her best to be a good one and a responsible one. And she's very kind. She's so respectful. So when you see her switch from that to this fucking crazy person just like staring down at me with this like, almost like you almost can't see her eyes, just because of the angle of it all. Like, she's fantastic. And but yeah, that was a really hard sequence to shoot, just like emotionally, mentally. Physically, it was also like Toronto summer, so it was really hot on that rooftop. you know, and we have like blood all over ourselves. And so it was pretty demanding overall, but I think it came out pretty well. I don't know what it says that the most impressed I am by myself is me dying, but you know, I was pretty proud of that one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but it feels it went very well. I think you should feel proud about
Oh,
your
thank you
death.
so much. Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Her brother. That's what she was trying to tell me.
And you know, one of the things that most people love about this first 3 episodes was Karen's performance. You know, how she manages to express so much without even speaking.
Right.
So
Right.
how was the relationship on the set, and does it feel the same way that the audience see it?
Honestly, Karen, I told her to not be better than me. So I'm pretty pissed off at her. No, I'm kidding. No, she, you know, Karen had a really hard job because the sign language that you see her use, Kenji, that the secret language that they have was actually like invented. It wasn't. It's not American Sign Language. It's not anything. It was actually invented with with the sign language expert and who's amazing as well. And so for Karen to, you know, effectively have to learn a language, and obviously I had to know what she was saying, so I had to like kind of like comprehend that as well visually. But you know, everything that Karen's giving you is here, you know, and it's in her body language. And I, as an actor, it's a lot harder when you have dialogue. It's easier to kind of, you know, convey what you're saying. But when you don't have that, and when you have basically, you know, the sign language that you're using in your face and your body, it's so much harder. And I think she did such an incredible job. It was super emotive. And honestly, I think we were really lucky in that a lot of the scenes that we shared with each other were with just one another, you know? And so it felt very intimate. We were very connected. I think we got pretty close very quickly. And we had that natural chemistry, which is honestly something I'm so grateful for, because sometimes you show up to a set and you're supposed to have this chemistry with this person or this connection, and you meet the actor and it's like, it's not great, you know, sometimes, but Karen and I, we didn't even have to work on it. We felt very, we clicked very quickly. So I'm super thankful, and I'm so proud of her for her performance, because she's ridiculously good. Ridiculous.
Cunt.
William? What a surprise!
Eat this motherfucker.
I think the shooting of that scene was kind of funny, because, you know, you don't really see anything happening, right? So like, it's all VFX, and so, yes. But I had so much fun with that, because it's challenging to, you know, imagine they're like, oh yeah, so, you know, the floor is like splitting, and then the car is like coming down, and all this rubble's coming down on top of Homelander, and none of that's happening. You don't see it because it's all VFX, and so, you know, you're imagining that happening. So I kind of felt ridiculous at first while we were rehearsing, because I was just like, and it was just like, nothing's happening. But Anthony he's so much fun. And but I was really proud. I was like, wow, I'm the first person in this world to like kind of fuck up Homelander. But I think even on a story level, it establishes more than that, because you see that, you know, whereas he was, even though it didn't kill him or anything, or even severely injure him, even it did kind of it was an impeding force in his way, right? Like it kind of established, like, whereas Aya didn't really struggle with Stormfront didn't really struggle with me. Stormfront had an easy time, you know, splitting my fucking wrists into, you know, into pieces. And so I think it kind of establishes that that power level as equal to or even possibly greater than Homelander, you know? So, but it'll be interesting to see that dynamic play out. Did you see the trailer for this upcoming episode?
No, I didn't want to.
Oh man, it's so good. I'm so excited to see the rest of the season and to, you know, to watch it with everyone, because it's gonna be so good.
Yes.
Hey, train, you're out. Out of what? Out of the 7.
How many more people have to die?
What are we gonna do? We're gonna sit around and cross our fingers that Homelander's gonna save us?
I'm at my wit's end. I'm the face of the 7, not you!
Wait, I found Becca. Bought facility, armed to the teeth. Won't be easy.
We're asking about your favorite member of The Boys and the 7.
Ooh.
Tough question.
Oh no. That's awful. Like the character, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The character.
Oh my god, am I gonna get killed for this? My favorite? Oh god. My favorite character from The Boys would probably be, I would say, I mean, obviously Kimiko, but Frenchie's also my favorite too. I think Frenchie's just like fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like he just has like a cool ease about him. And obviously the actor Tomer Capone, he's incredible and he is so good. But I mean, all of them sort of function too, right? Like Carl's like the leader. I mean, you know, and like Butcher's the leader, and Mother's Milk is kind of like the mediator between, you know, all the friction that happens and the chaos, and Huey is just Huey. But those two are probably my favorite from The Boys. And from the 7, I mean, I love Black Noir. Black Noir is so funny. Like when he does the green tea matcha ceremony, it's so funny. And when Lucy, like Lucy the whale dies, he kind of has a moment for Lucy. And Black Noir is pretty dope. And I also really like Starlight, for sure.
Yes, Starlight.
Yeah, and Erin's amazing. She did a really great job with that.
What happened to your character, I think, is what's going to motivate the story, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was told, you know, initially when I signed on for the project and they offered me the job, was that, you know, Kenji, even though you see him really in the first few episodes, he's kind of the impetus and the catalyst for the arc for Kimiko, and involving, you know, Stormfront and the 7. And so and I think you definitely feel that, you know, and well, I hope people feel that. I hope people feel his absence. Yeah,
for sure.